Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Wishing You Well, the podcast where we simplify health, support your healing journey, and help you to feel empowered in your body. I'm your host, Maria Patrick, your podcast health coach, and today we're diving into a topic that affects millions of people, especially as we get older, but it isn't always clearly explained. We're talking about the difference between diverticulosis and diverticulitis, and most importantly, how to support your body naturally if you have either one. Because here's the truth, these conditions are quite common, but they are not something you just have to live with. Let's break it down today in a simple, supportive, and healing way. Let's start with diverticulosis. Diverticulosis is when small pouches called diverticula form in the lining of your colon. Think of them like tiny pockets that bulge outward in weak spots of your intestinal wall. Now here's the key point to remember. Most people with diverticulosis have no symptoms at all. You could have it and not even know it. It's often discovered during routine screenings like a colonoscopy. So what causes these little pouches to form? From both the conventional and the holistic perspective, the biggest contributors are having a low fiber diet, dealing with chronic constipation, having increased pressure in the colon, and aging, because the colon wall does naturally weaken over time. From a more holistic or a traditional Chinese medicine lens, we might also say that there's stagnation in the large intestine and possibly a weakness in spleen qi, which affects digestion itself. So diverticulosis is essentially a structural condition, not necessarily inflammatory yet. Now let's talk about diverticulitis. This is when those little pouches become inflamed or infected. And this is where the symptoms show up, sometimes quite intensely. Common symptoms include having lower abdominal pain, particularly and often on the left side of the body, bloating, fever, nausea, and experiencing changes in your bowel habits, sudden constipation or diarrhea. In more serious cases, it can lead to complications like abscesses or even a rupture, which is why it's important, if you have these symptoms, to take them seriously. So here's the simplest way to think about it. Diverticulosis is when the pouches are present, but they're often silent. Diverticulitis is when the pouches have become inflamed or infected and they're painful. So this is where things really get important when we start focusing on why and how this happens. Why does diverticulitis happen? It doesn't happen just randomly. It's usually the result of stagnation of waste, inflammation in the gut, imbalance in gut bacteria, and increased pressure that traps material in those pouches. So this, from a traditional Chinese medicine perspective, is a combination of heat, which is inflammation, dampness, which is sluggish digestion, and stagnation, which is when things are not moving properly. So our goal is not just to treat the symptoms, it's to get right to the root. We want to restore flow, reduce inflammation, and support the gut environment. So when it comes to supporting diverticulosis, we're in prevention mode. If you've been told you have diverticulosis, this is your opportunity to prevent the progression to the next stage. And here's what you want to do to prevent progression and support your body. Number one is to increase the amount of fiber you're taking in. Fiber helps keep things moving, and it reduces the pressure in the colon. You're going to want to focus on cooked vegetables. They're easier for our bodies to digest. Eat oats. Bring in chia seeds into your diet and flax seeds. The tip here, and this is really important, is to increase fiber slowly to avoid gas and prevent bloating. Number 2 is that hydration is extremely important. It's actually non-negotiable because fiber without taking on water, additional water, can actually make things worse. You want to focus on drinking warm water regularly throughout the day, herbal teas, and you've heard me say this before, avoid excessive cold drinks. This is especially important if your digestion is weak. The third thing to focus on is movement or motility. Daily movement, also known as exercise, stimulates your intestines. Even if it's gentle stretches or a relaxing qigong or yoga practice or taking a walk, these things can make a big difference. They stimulate your intestines. Movement equals motility. Number 4 is that a healthy microbiome helps prevent it from becoming inflamed. So you're going to want to support your gut health. If you're able to tolerate them, you're going to want to incorporate fermented foods, even a little bit every day. Prebiotics, we don't often talk about prebiotics. That would be garlic and onions, artichokes, and gentle probiotics, which we are more familiar with, like yogurt and kefir and kimchi. Number 5, stress. We need to reduce it because stress directly affects our digestion. In traditional Chinese medicine, stress stagnates the liver qi, which disrupts digestion. You'll want to have a meditation practice, a deep breathing, breathwork practice, and of course, I'm going to recommend that you regularly do qigong. Remember that in addition to being a health coach, I am a qigong instructor. You can find me at qigongwithmaria.com, and I'm on YouTube, free videos, Qigong with Maria. If you end up in an active flare with diverticulitis, the approach is different. We're now switching into healing mode, and this is really, really imperative. It's not the time to be focusing on eating raw salads and high fiber, because what your body needs when you're in diverticulitis is rest and repair. So at least temporarily, you're going to want to go low fiber. During a flare, you should be taking in cooked soft foods, soups, and broths. We want to allow the healing to happen and reduce irritation. You'll want to focus on anti-inflammatory support to calm the inflammation. So bone broth supports the gut lining. It helps it to heal. Turmeric, very healing. Ginger tea, extremely healing. You're going to want to get medical support when needed. Sometimes antibiotics are necessary, and that's okay. When I recommend holistic approaches to you, it's about integrating them into medical support as needed. If you're working with a doctor, follow their guidance while at the same time you're supporting your body naturally alongside the recommendations from your medical team. After a flare, you're going to want to rebuild the gut. And the way to do that, once your symptoms improve, is to gradually reintroduce fiber and add in probiotics. Think of this as rebuilding your home after a storm. There's a lot of myths surrounding diverticulitis and losis. So let's clear up a few of these common ones that you may have heard. We often are told you can't eat seeds or nuts. Well, newer research shows that this is generally not true for most people. We often hear it's just a random condition. No, your diet and your gut health and your level of stress that you're internalizing, they play a major role. We often hear once you have it, nothing can be done for you. No, absolutely not. There is so much you can do to support your healing and prevent flare-ups. So if you hear these things from your medical team, perhaps you want to push back a little, dig a little deeper, ask more questions, perhaps even get a second or a third opinion. I want you to think about this as that it's not just a digestive issue. It's a message from your body. Most projects, health projects that we're working on, are messages from our body. Your body may be saying that you need to nourish yourself differently. You need to release what you're holding on to physically and emotionally, and that you may need to slow down. In traditional Chinese medicine, the large intestine is incorporated with letting go. So ask yourself gently, what might I need to let go of? What do I need to release? Large intestine is responsible for elimination. There may be some things in your life that need a look at to see if they can be eliminated. In terms of having a simple daily routine to support your digestion and your gut health, here's a gentle daily rhythm you can follow. Start your mornings with warm lemon water. You hear me say that quite a bit. And then do some light movement. I'd love to see you doing some Qigong. Midday, fuel yourself with a nourishing meal that's cooked and rich in fiber. Make sure it's accompanied with hydration. When I say hydration, I mean water. In the evening, a light dinner is a perfect way to go, and have that with limited liquid if you can, and follow it up with herbal tea like ginger or peppermint, both good for digestion, very supportive. And daily, you'll want to move every day. You'll want to be mindful when you eat, and you will want to focus on, as much as possible, reducing your stress, or at least having a very good stress reduction plan, a plan for how to deal with your stress. My closing thoughts are that diverticulosis and diverticulitis are not the same, but they are connected. One is a condition of structure, the other is a condition of inflammation. And both are deeply influenced by how you live, what you eat, how much or how little you move, and how well or not so well you manage your stress. The beautiful thing is, you have so much power here. You are in control. Small, consistent changes can make a big difference. Thank you so much for spending time with me today on Wishing You Well. And remember, healing doesn't have to be overwhelming. It can be simple, gentle, and deeply nourishing. Until next time, I'm Maria Patrick, and as always, I am wishing you well.